Welcome to Science Store online classes.
Don't forget to like our video and subscribe our YouTube channel for all the updates.
Hello my dear students, welcome back to biology online classes. The chapter what we are discussing under CET and NEET is about biodiversity and conservation. So students, take out the worksheet, that is worksheet number 1. In the previous class we have discussed around 15 good number of questions. Let's start with the next question, that is question number 16. So I will read out the question for you. The active chemical drug reserpine is obtained from A. Datura, B. Rauwolfia, C. Atropa, D. Papaver. Now see the question. The active chemical drug reserpine is obtained from. The right answer is the option B, that is Rauwolfia. Rauwolfia serpentine, it is known as Sarpagandha in Kannada. So already I have explained this plant having medicinal property which can be used as antipsychotic drug as well as antihypertensive drug to dilate the blood vessels and to lower the blood pressure BP. So that is the active chemical drug reserpine. It is obtained from this particular plant, that is Rauwolfia. So reserpine is also called as serparine or serpalin. This also I have explained in the previous session. So it is nothing but chemically it is an indole alkaloid. Okay, chemically it is indole alkaloid. Now if you see the option A, that is Datura, it is nothing but a weed, unwanted plant which causes hallucinations. Atropa, Papaver, all these are having the property of hallucination. Hallucination means you feel in some other world, not in this world. That means it causes the mental status, extreme happiness, that is called as the hallucination. So you have studied in the chapter Human Health and Disease about different drugs and alcohol abuse, correct? So opioids are the drugs which bind specific opioid receptors present in the central nervous system and the gastrovascular cavity or gastrovascular tract. So heroin is commonly called as smack. Chemically it is diacetyl morphine, which is a white and odorless and having a bitter taste and crystalline in nature. So this is obtained from the acetylation of morphine, what you have studied in this particular chapter, which is extracted from the latex of the poppy plant whose scientific name is Papaver somniferum. So generally you can take one can take it by snorting, nashyada ರೂಪದಲ್ಲಿ, or in the form of injection. So heroin is a depressant and slow down one's body's function. Similarly, you see the next option, that is Atropa belladonna. See, Atropa belladonna, Datura, they have plants with hallucinogenic properties. So they comes under the group of chemicals called as cannabinoids. So cannabinoids are used or abused by the sports persons, right? So that is about the question number 16. The active chemical drug reserpine is obtained from the Rauwolfia. Next, question number 17. Which of the following groups of plants exhibit more species diversity? Which are having more species diversity? Options are A. Tropics. Options are A. Angiosperms, B. Algae, C. Bryophytes, and D. Fungi. Now the right option is the option D, that is fungi. So fungi belongs to eukaryotic and heterotrophic groups of organisms which having diversified morphological and physiological structure, and these particular fungi, that is there are different classes of fungi, and the fungi are mainly present in diversified habitat, moist soil, damp, cool places, okay, and they have different morphological structures, they have branched hyphae, okay, and they are found in variety of shapes, okay. So following group of plants exhibit more species diversity, that is fungi. Fungi has been classified into 4 different classes. One is Phycomycetes, second Ascomycetes, 3 Basidiomycetes, and 4 Deuteromycetes, also called as fungi imperfecti. So Phycomycetes may be of 2 different subclasses, maybe Zygomycetes or maybe Oomycetes. Next comes Angiosperms. Next to fungi, more diversified species are Angiosperms. Then comes the algae, then comes the Bryophytes. So you should know, because sometimes they may ask to arrange in the increasing order or the decreasing order of the species diversity of these plants. Next, question number 18. Which of the below mentioned regions exhibit less seasonal variations? Which of the below mentioned regions exhibit less seasonal variations? A. Tropics, B. Temperates, C. Alpines, D. both A and B. So the right option is A. Tropics. Is tropical evergreen forest. It is the biome occurs in regions of high temperature and high rainfall. Where there is a temperature is very high and where there is a high rainfall, in that regions you can see tropical rainforests. Okay. So it includes Central America, then South America, then Africa, East Africa, then Southeast Asia. So one can expect maximum number of biodiversity in this region and vegetation. Okay. So about 2/3 of the insects, okay, and many terrestrial plants live here. So they have maximum productivity, means this rainforest having maximum productivity and minimum temperature variation. If you see the seasonal conditions or the environmental condition, it remains almost stable. There is no much variation in the temperature or productivity. So the right answer is the option A. Next, question number 19. The historic convention on biological diversity held in Rio de Janeiro in the year 1992 is known as, direct question, it is known as the Earth Summit. Very important question. What is Earth Summit? You have studied in the chapter under NCERT, page number 267, the Earth Summit It is also known as Rio de Janeiro Summit, which was held in the year 1992. So, if you see the biodiversity knows no political boundaries, and its conservation is therefore a collective responsibility of all the nations. So, this historic convention on biological diversity, what you call as the Earth Summit, held in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil in the year 1992, and it called upon all the nations to take appropriate measures for conservation of biodiversity as well as for sustainable utilization of the benefits. So, next in the follow-up of World Summit on Sustainable Development, which was held in the year 2002 in the Johannesburg, South Africa, around 190 countries pledged their commitment to achieve by 2010 a significant reduction in the current rate of biodiversity loss, not only at global but also at regional and local levels. So, that is about the Earth Summit. So, what do you mean by MAB program? MAB program means Man and Biosphere program. What is that? Man and Biosphere program. So, it is an intergovernmental scientific program which was launched in the year 1971 by UNESCO. UNESCO means United Nations Environmental, Social and Cultural Organization, and the head office is in US. So, what is the main objective or aim of this program? So, that is to establish a scientific basis for the relationship between the people and their environment, man and environment. So, it provides a unique platform for exploration on research. Okay. So, for the cooperation of research and development, capacity building and networking to share the information and knowledge related to the environment between the people. So, that is about the MAB program. So, then what is CITES convention? CITES means it is the full form for the Convention on International Trade and Endangered Species of Wild Flora and Fauna. Let me write the full form of CITES for you. So, students, CITES means, note down, Convention on International Trade and Convention on International Trade on Endangered Species of Flora and Fauna. Endangered species of flora and fauna. Note down. So, endangered species of flora and fauna. So, it is also commonly called as the Washington Convention, known as Washington Convention. Okay. To protect the endangered plants and animals. what is the main objective of this convention is to protect the endangered species of plants and animals. That is the main objective. So, convention was open for signature in the year 1973. So, open for the signature in the year 1973, and CITES entered into force the 1st July 1975. 1st July 1975 was forced this year 1975. Okay. Now, what is the meaning of another term, that is G16? The G16 summit, it was held in, G16 means for 16 different nations were involved in this, so it is called as G16. So, G16 held in Delft, Netherlands. G16 was held in Delft, Netherlands. Delft, Netherlands. From 28th to 29th May 2015. From 28th to 29th May 2015. Note down. 2015. So, UNESCO and partners organized 4th International Conference on Research Frontiers in Chalcogen cycle. Chalcogen cycle, on down here. Chalcogen cycle. Now, what do you mean by this Chalcogen cycle? So, under the science and technology, so G16 conference. So, what are the chemical elements which are present in the group 16 of the periodic table? Those are all commonly called as chalcogens. What are the chemical elements which are comes under the group 16 of the periodic table or comes under chalcogen? So, these are also commonly called as oxygen family, or they are commonly called as oxygen family, and they includes the different elements like oxygen, sulfur, Sc means selenium, then tellurium, then radioactive elements like polonium. So, oxygen, sulfur, selenium, tellurium, and they include polonium. Okay. So, greatest advancement of cyclogen based research from science, engineering, healthcare sectors and environment were made, and whatever the nations participated, note down. So, under this the different perspectives will be explored and introduced in this particular area, that is the science and technological area among the chalcogen elements, that is oxygen family. This is commonly called as oxygen family. Okay. So, different nations like what are involved is China, note down, India, Japan, South Korea, then Indonesia, Argentina, Mexico, US, Russia, Canada, Germany, Australia, UK, France, Italy and Brazil. These are the 16 nations which are included under this particular summit, that is called as G16 summit. It's called as G16 summit. Okay. So let me write down the nations which have participated in G16 convention or conference, that is China, then India, then Japan, Korea, Indonesia, then Argentina, Mexico, US, Argentina, Mexico, US, then Russia, Canada, Germany, Germany, then Australia, UK, France, Italy, UK, France, Italy, then Brazil. Now count on number of nations, 16 are there, correct? So note down. Let's move to next question, that is question number 20. What is common to the techniques 1. In vitro fertilization, 2. Cryopreservation, and 3. Tissue culture? What is common to these techniques? A. All are in situ conservation methods. B. All are ex situ conservation methods. C. All require ultra modern equipment and large space. D. All are methods of conservation of extinct organisms. So the right option is B, that is all are ex situ conservation methods. Cryopreservation means storage of pollens, seeds, tissues, etc. under liquid nitrogen. That is cryopreservation. Very low temperature, minus 196 degree Celsius. In vitro fertilization, you have already studied the test tube baby program. In vitro fertilization means outside the body, in the laboratory conditions, fertilization, fusion between the male and the female gamete, and fertilization takes place, results in the formation of diploid zygote, and this the zygote will be introduced either when they are 8 blastomeres or 16 blastomere stage into the female reproductive tract. Then what do you mean by tissue culture? See, there is a chapter that is called as strategies for enhancement of food production in biology, which is according to the new syllabus they have deleted, but don't know whether they will add it or no. So tissue culture is a traditional breeding techniques. When the traditional breeding techniques are failed, then you can use, one scientist can use this particular tissue culture. So when traditional breeding techniques fails to keep a pace with the demand, to provide sufficiently fast to the people an efficient system for crop improvement technology, the alternative is required, that another technology that is called as tissue culture. When see ever growing population is there, when the need is not fulfilled with the traditional method of crop breeding, then we should find an alternative method or technology that is called as the tissue culture to fulfill the ever growing population or demand, so that sufficient quantity of food can be supplied for the ever growing population. It should be fast as well as much efficient technology of crop improvement, and that is the tissue culture. So what is the meaning of this tissue culture? What is the purpose? You know, what is the meaning? So the whole plant could be regenerated from explants. Explant means any part of the plant taken out and grown in a test tube under sterile conditions in a special nutrient media. So any part of the plant you take that any part of the plant, it is called as the explant. What do you call? The explant. You take it out, you take for example small stem part of the plant, this small stem or leaves. Then you grow in the laboratory condition in a test tube or in a plate with having sufficient amount of nutrients in the test tube or in the plate. So entire plant can be grown from this explant to the method of tissue culture. Okay. So you should provide sterile conditions. Sterile means there should not be growth of any microbials. Okay, bacteria, fungi, growth should not be present. So this capacity to generate a whole plant from a cell or an explant, whole plant can be generated either from a cell or from any part of the plant. That capacity is called as totipotency. It is called as totipotency. To generate a entire new plant from a cell or from an explant, that is called as totipotency. So this tissue culture or in vitro fertilization, cryopreservation, all are ex situ conservation, means outside their original habits or outside their original habitat, that is in the laboratory conditions, that is called as ex situ conservation. In situ means within their natural conditions, natural environments, that is called as in situ conservations. National parks, wildlife sanctuaries, these are examples for in situ conservations. Next, question number 21. One of the following statements is incorrect with reference to the biodiversity identified. A. Biodiversity increases with the higher altitudes to lower altitudes. It is correct. Depletion in the genetic diversity of croplands is mainly due to the introduction of better varieties with the high yield, disease resistance, etc. It is also correct. See the option D, biodiversity decreases from equator to polar region, that is also correct. It is in connection to option A only. And see the option C, the richest reservoir of animal and plant life species richness with few or no threatened species. No. When you talk about the biodiversity hotspots, here the statement just see, the richest reservoir of animals and plant life, that is species richness, with few or no threatened species are called as biodiversity hotspots. No. Biodiversity hotspots means it contains three important parameters. If to say a given area is a biodiversity hotspot, there should be three important criteria. One is the number of species. There should be increased number of species and endemism of the species. Those species should be present in only those particular area, geographical area, and not found elsewhere. And the third thing, they should contain species which are threatened, which are having the threat and which are very much endangered to become extinct in the near future, okay, which if you are not taken care. So such regions are called as biodiversity hotspots. So see the option C, the richest reservoir of animals and plant life, that is species richness, with the more number of threatened species are called biodiversity hotspots. So incorrect option is the option C. Let's move to question number 22. One of the chief reasons among the following for the depletion in the number of species making it endangered is what? Their habitat destruction, that is option B. Mainly due to the man activity like hunting and poaching that causes their habitat, the place where they live, to get destruction. And mainly the main hunts or poach the different animals for their valuable skin, teeth, ivory, what are the benefits they get from the animals. For that they will hunt and they will make their habitat to loss. So right option is option B. Habitat destruction. Okay, one of the chief reason among the following for the depletion in the number of species making it endangered is the habitat destruction. Okay. So you see, one of the chief reasons for the depletion of the number of species, evil quartet of biodiversity loss, they have given habitat loss and fragmentation, and that is the main reason. Okay, making the species endangered. See, it's given in the page number 264 of your NCERT, habitat loss and fragmentation. This is the most important cause driving animals and plants to extinction. Okay. So Amazonian rainforest, how they are degraded, they have given in the book. So when the large habitats are broken into small fragments due to various human activities, mammals and birds requiring large territories and certain animals with migratory habits are badly affected, leading to the decline in population. Next, question number 23. Given below is the representation of the extent of global diversity of invertebrates. What groups the four portions A to D represent respectively? So the right option is the option 4 or D. A is insects, B mollusks, C crustaceans, and D is other animal groups. This also we have done in the theory class. C option D, page number 260 of NCERT. First comes the insects, correct? Then comes, insects are the large group of invertebrates. After insects, then comes the mollusks, right now? B, see, okay, insects, then other animal groups, then comes mollusks, then comes the crustaceans. So decreasing order, first highest is insects, that is A, then comes other animal groups, that is option D, then comes mollusks is option B, then comes crustaceans C. So increasing order is crustaceans, then mollusks, then other animal groups and insects. So this is a very important question. Next, question number 24. Alexander von Humboldt described for the first time what? Alexander von Humboldt described for the first time the species area relationship. You have already studied about the species area relationship. What does it indicate? So if you draw a graph by taking area under x-axis and species richness along y-axis, then on the logarithmic scale you get a relationship called as log s is equal to log c plus z log a. That means when one explore more and more area, he will find more and more species richness or diversity. So you will get a straight line, that is called a species area relationship given by Alexander von Humboldt. So during his pioneering and extensive exploration in the wilderness of South American jungles, the great German naturalist and the geographer, that is Alexander von Humboldt, observed within a region species richness increased with the increase in the explored area, but up to a certain limit. For every beginning there is a limit. So when the area ends, the species richness also ends. So only up to a certain limit. So relation between species richness and area, he has given wide variety of taxa, including angiosperm plants, birds, bats, as well as for freshwater fishes. And he told that it is a rectangular hyperbola. Population growth equations you already studied, that is exponential growth as well as the logistic growth curve. I will not explain again. Ecological biodiversity. What do you mean by ecological biodiversity? Biodiversity occurs in three different levels. One is genetic diversity, second one is species diversity, and third one is the ecological diversity. Means ecological diversity means at the ecosystem level. For India, for example, it has got wide habitats like deserts, rainforest, mangroves, coral reefs, wetlands, wetlands, estuaries, and alpine meadows as a greater ecosystem diversity than you take a Scandinavian country like a Norway. Then what is the law of limiting factor? This particular concept, students, you have studied in first PU, if you remember, under plant physiology, law of limiting factor. You remember which chapter? The concept of law of limiting factor. A factor becomes a limit. That is in the chapter photosynthesis in higher plants. Factors affecting the photosynthesis. Law of limiting factor comes into effect if it is a chemical process is affected by more than one factor, then its rate will determined by the factor which is nearest to its minimal values is the factor which directly affects the process if its quantity is changed. So, page number 222 of your first view NCERT chapter photosynthesis in higher plants, you have studied about law of limiting factor. If a chemical process is affected by more than one factor, say temperature, pH, enzyme activity, temperature, pH, products, reactants, then the factor that is the rate will be determined, the rate of that chemical reaction is determined by the factor which is nearest to its minimal value. So, it is the factor which directly affects the process if its quantity is changed. For example, despite the presence of green leaf, optimal light is there, carbon dioxide conditions, the plant may not photosynthesize if the temperature is very low. So, this leaf, if given optimal temperature, will start photosynthesizing. That means if one particular factor, if it is absent, that becomes a limiting factor, and if you give that factor to that reaction, it will take place smoothly. Okay. If quantity is changed nearest to its minimum, the factor which is nearest to its minimal value is the factor which directly affects the process if its quantity is changed. Okay. So, for example, if photosynthesis to takes place, you give all the conditions, you give light, you give chlorophyll, you give water, you give minerals, okay, but you give carbon dioxide, but if its temperature is not sufficient, then photosynthesis may not take place. So, here what is the limiting factor? That is temperature. So, that is if you make the optimal temperature, give the optimal temperature, again photosynthesis will take place. So, that minimum factor, if it is lacking, that is called as the limiting factor. Okay, next question number, one more question we will discuss, that is question number 25. Which one of the following is related to ex situ conservation of threatened animals and plants? All are in situ conservation, biodiversity hotspots, Himalayan region, Amazon rainforest, they are all there living in their natural habitats. Biodiversity hotspots, making the animals to be live in their natural habitats, Amazon rainforest, Himalayan region, all these are the natural habitats of the animals species. But wildlife safari or parks, these are the ex situ conservation. Here the animals are kept in a particular area and the visitors are allowed to see the animals for education purpose and for aesthetic values, for beauty. So, they may be provided with the vehicles from the park authority, or they may take their own authority, they may take their own vehicle under the permission of concerned authority, and they can have a look, have a visit into the park. So, that is wildlife safari parks. You can see in Pilikula in Mangalore, that is one of the examples. There are so many wildlife safari parks. So students, we have completed good amount of 25 questions in first worksheet under the chapter biodiversity and conservation. So note down all the important points which I have written on the board and also take down my lecture notes, and thank you students for watching the video.
Don't forget to like our video and subscribe our YouTube channel for all the updates.